So it looks like Putin is too scared to actually show up and meet with Zelensky in Istanbul. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I'll give you the whole background and the story here. Just stick with me. My name is Gerdes. I'm just a professor trying to provide context in the war in Ukraine. It is Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. This is a daily brief. So at the end of the ceasefire, it wasn't really a ceasefire, over the Victory Day parade holiday, at 1 a.m., Putin offered to hold new talks with Ukraine that would start next week. It would start on Thursday. Putin said that he will seek Turkey to be the mediator. They'll pick up where they left off in 2022 and start from there. Well, it was kind of boxing Zelensky into a corner because Zelensky was just calling for a ceasefire for 30 days to then start negotiations. Putin doesn't want that. But Zelensky came out and said this Thursday, May 15th, I'll be in Turkey. I'm waiting for Putin there in person. I hope this time he won't look for excuses. Now, Putin never said, in Putin's defense, he never said that he was personally going to go there, but Zelensky called him out. And now Putin's kind of boxed in. Is Putin going to show up, or does he really not want to have peace negotiations? So here's how this is playing out now. Trump is sending envoys Witkoff and Kellogg to travel to Turkey for these Russian-Ukraine talks in Istanbul. Russia continues preparations for talks set to take place in Istanbul on Thursday, but Kremlin spokesperson Peskov said, quote, "We're not commenting further for now. Putin will decide when to announce who will represent Russia in negotiations with Ukraine," unquote. Yeah, Putin's not actually showing up. That's the real tricky thing. So Darth Putin, the parody site, said, "I've rejected my own offer for direct peace talks with Zelensky." It sure sounded like Putin was saying, hey, I'll negotiate this with Istanbul and we'll have peace talks. Like, it sure sounded like Putin was saying he was going to go. Although I did fact check, he didn't say directly he was going to go. Okay, Zelensky will only meet with Putin, not with other officials, if direct talks are held in Turkey, according to a statement from the office of the president in Ukraine. So I'm going, says Zelensky, and are you going to show up? Are you serious about this? No, he's not serious about this. The last thing that Putin wants is a ceasefire or peace talks to actually take effect. He wants to continue to fight, and you can see that by the training for the summer offensive that is coming. Okay, Erdogan and I, this is Zelensky, Erdogan and I do everything to make the meeting with Putin happen. If Putin is not ready to fly to Ankara, Erdogan and I are ready to fly to Istanbul. We will do everything to make this meeting happen, but no one can make me, but no one but me can negotiate with Putin. These are my duties. If there is no meeting with Putin, there will be no result either. Everything has already gone far enough. Putin is afraid of direct negotiations with me. Okay, now, Zelensky has just set up Putin in a masterful way, because even if Lavrov shows up, and he probably will, it's not Putin. And Zelensky saying, look, I'm here to negotiate on my presidential level with you. Let's get this done. And Putin not showing up, it's going to not look good for Putin. Now, of course, Putin's going to say, well, he wouldn't even talk to Lavrov. I mean, like, he's not serious, but it'll be a PR race at that point. Zelensky will not meet with any Russian representative in Istanbul other than Vladimir Putin, according to Mikhailo Polyak, advisor to the head of the Ukrainian president's office. A possible bilateral meeting in Istanbul at a lower level would be pointless. So that would be the way that Zelensky and the Ukrainians would reply to that sort of charge, is that, why go lower? What's the point? It's not actually, like, let's make the decision principle to principle. Okay, perfect move by Zelensky, says Michael McFall, former ambassador to Russia. Okay, a source from Gulagu.net, close to the Federal Protective Services, reported that the President's Security Service has no plans for his visit to Turkey. So Putin's not actually planning to go. The information is current as of 9:30 a.m. Moscow time. Meanwhile, Rossiya Special Flight Unit aircraft is being prepared for Lavrov and Yushakov to travel to Istanbul. So, all right, so nothing's actually going to happen here. Buying into Putin's stalling game, according to Bloomberg, Washington is holding off on sanctions as Europe waits to see if the Istanbul summit between Zelensky and Putin happens. If Putin refuses talks or a ceasefire, EU leaders say that they'll push Trump to act. I don't know how much they can push Trump to act or how much Trump would be willing to do. Trump seems like almost to be like a battered wife in denial. Like he just keeps getting hit around, and he's like, no, he'll change. I know he's really good. He just isn't willing to see. Okay, breaking. Trump has issued an ultimatum. If there are no immediate direct negotiations between Ukraine and Russia, the United States will withdraw from the talks, according to Trump's special envoy, Witkoff. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, let's turn to what's going on in Ukraine today. As of over the last 24 hours, 10,070 Russians off the battlefield. That's a pretty low number. I mean, even for this month, it's a pretty low number. 2 tanks, 14 armored fighting vehicles, 62 artillery systems, 138 vehicles and fuel tanks. This is so high because this is so low, and drones are causing havoc where these guys don't want to be fighting with the drones. So, okay. So again, that number is low. It brings it down to 1245 for the month of May. Ragnar Gudmundsson's dashboard: engagements and casualties remain below the 7-day average. Land equipment losses and drone interceptions both above average. Shelling and airstrikes increase, but strike ratio remains in single digits. Right? Here's the strike ratio. It's negative. It's 9.1 to like 9.1 Russian to every 1 Ukrainian strike, but it's still single digit. It's not terrible. Okay. Now, drone strikes. I'm somewhat baffled by this. So the U.S. State Department put out a notice that a strike could be imminent in the next 72 hours in Ukraine, the U.S. Embassy. And nothing's happened yet. In fact, there were only a handful of Shaheds last night, 10 Shahed drones, all which were shot down. So is Putin saving up? Because he had 3 days worth of no Shahed drones. And so I was expecting some overwhelming Shahed drone strike to just try to overwhelm their forces and then send something through. Okay, it's not here yet. So we don't know what's going to happen, but something big feels like it's about to happen. In Pokrovsk direction, the Donetsk region, Ukrainian defenders stopped 50 assaults, which is kind of high given the low number of casualties. Airstrike on a Russian river crossing somewhere in the Kursk region, filmed by Russians. It was just a big explosion here, and yeah. Okay. Ukrainian forces struck a FPV drone operator position in temporarily occupied Kherson region, destroying both a dugout and the house used by the operators. So, again, drones are everything in this war. Not everything, but drones are highly significant. It's to the point that whoever has the better drone technology is going to have the upper hand on the battlefield, clearly. Okay, Ukrainian Special Operations Forces destroyed a Russian Buk M3 and Urgan-1 MLRS with drone strikes. The Buk M3 is one of the key means of the Russian air defense used to destroy targets in the air, on the ground, at sea. It's estimated the cost is about $45 million. Air defense was just struck with drones. That's what I'm talking about here. That's why drones are this important. Destruction of the Russian Urgan MLRS on the BAZ chassis, Kursk region. First, the strike was carried out by FPV drone, then HIMARS. So I don't know if the drone was there to disable and then the HIMARS targeted or exactly what, but again, drones. Phoenix unmanned systems of the regiment of the Ukraine's border guard continue striking deep behind Russian lines. In their latest operation, they destroyed 6 supply trucks, 4 vans, a car, MTLB packed with troops. So, okay. Russian base in Luhansk was targeted today by FPV-1 drones. According to Russian sources, the 3 Ukrainian fixed-wing strike UAVs targeted asphalt concrete plant in Luhansk. I'm not sure how much asphalt is necessary or useful in the war. I guess there is some kind of war rationale or reason for that. The area has reportedly been attacked by multiple times before, as it is believed that Russian forces are using it to host armored vehicle repair facilities and other critical military infrastructure. So the asphalt might not be that exciting, but the stuff they stored there was.
Okay. I just thought this was cool, this image. This is a view from a Ukrainian Mi-24 Hind helicopter gunship skimming over sunflowers, heading to the front line. And then Darth Putin, again, the parody site, saying, "And Prez rejecting a ceasefire is further proof that Ukraine wants the war to continue." Yeah, it's hard to know what to say today when you can't be sure what will happen yesterday. And here's a four-legged friend bringing happiness to warriors on the front. And I will continue to bring you more updates on what's going on with President Putin, whether he's going to show up or not show up or whatever. Be looking for that with three big stories tonight. Thank you for your time, my friends. Thank you for the time, the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.